We're in conversation with Amitesh from Leo Burnett to understand the advertising trends, the mergers and acquisitions. And welcome, sir. It's a great opportunity to get in touch with you. My first question to you is a lot of mergers and acquisitions are happening around in the advertising space, right? What is your view of the same? How do you see the advertising landscape shaping up?
Well, to start with, we are not Leo Burnett anymore. We are Leo.
Yeah.
And that happened a couple of months back.
Right.
Look, I think the transformation that the industry is going through is much larger than a few mergers and acquisitions. Those are obviously significant developments, and they are in many ways going to change the landscape of the industry. But they are subsets of a much larger transformation that the industry is going through globally.
Yeah.
A lot of it driven by technology, some of it driven by changing consumer and social mindsets, and our ability as creative companies in particular to do the work that we're doing and do it better and better and better needs extreme transformation. That in some ways is also prompting companies to come together, to break away for consolidations, for acquisitions. And it's not for me to comment on whether this is a good acquisition or a good consolidation or not. But what it certainly means is that the nature, the speed at which we are transforming is accelerating.
Yeah.
I view it as a very positive development.
Yeah.
I think this industry has needed to dramatically transform itself for a very long time now, and that transformation is now happening at an accelerated pace, which is a great thing for us.
Awesome. That was also somewhat my next question, that you've been in the industry for too long, right? And you've seen times change, consumer demands evolve. In the recent times, how have you seen the demands of the client evolve? What are they asking something new? Because we hear very often that, the kind of ads we used to see once back then, we don't see them anymore. How do you see the consumer demand changing?
Well, I don't think, at the most fundamental level, I don't think client expectations have changed. Clients are saying, I have a brand, I have a business, I have a challenge, and I want you to help me drive growth for my business. That hasn't changed in forever, right?
Yeah.
What has changed is the way you can work with a client to drive growth for them.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a function of the complete fragmentation of media. That's a function of very changing, evolving transformation, consumer mindsets. That's a function of how we are now global citizens as much as we are part of local communities. That's a function of how our outlooks are now so different. That's a function of the ability of data and technology and our ability to take a message at a very granular level to a very specific set of people. There are so many variables behind it, and therefore what a client is saying is, I have a growth problem, or I have an opportunity with a brand.
Yeah.
Help me tap into that opportunity. And where creative companies are having to evolve is to find the capability, the talent, and the workflows to take a strong creative idea to market across 100 different places. And that's what has fundamentally changed for us.
Yeah.
We've always, as an industry, our core has been about strong creative thinking that used to manifest itself in one or two ways. Now it has to manifest in 100 ways for that idea to be powerful and to make a difference to something in life.
Awesome.
And that's where I think we guys are as an industry, and Leo as a company is making rapid strides and having to keep up with.
But deep diving more into the factor that people say that, as you mentioned, right talent is what we need, right? A lot of people mention कि यार अब वो वाली बात नहीं रही Indian ads में, वो जो that used to stick, कि washing powder Nirma and मेरे जीत की राज is Bonvita and all of those. We don't get those kind of crazy ads now that stick with us for years. Why do you think is that the case? And if right talent is the case, how do we tackle that as an industry?
No, it's not about talent at all. I think we have fabulous talent in the market right now. In fact, I think India right now has some of the best strategic and creative talent in the world. So to me, it's not that there used to be very talented people and now they're not.
Okay.
Not at all. The difference is there was a time when you would watch 15 ads in a week and you would remember 2 of them.
Yeah.
and they would become part of culture and part of your language and part of your nomenclature.
Yeah.
Now, you are watching 15,000 ads a day, and ads are no longer just ads.
Yeah.
The messaging that a brand delivers to a consumer comes in hundreds of shapes and forms and sizes and formats and across different touch points.
Yeah.
What remains is more intangible. People may not remember that one line,
Yeah.
okay, but people do remember what a brand stands for.
Yeah.
People do know, even if at a subliminal level, that I want to associate with this brand because it means something. और वो मेरे को 50 चीजें बोल रहा है पर वो एक मीनिंग है उसका.
Yeah.
If you do that, that power is still there. Big brands are still big brands.
Yeah.
You may not. The definition of an iconic advertising campaign has changed. And therefore, because of that, how we look at talent as an industry, in some parts has changed, but needs to change a lot more. The same ads that you're referring to, Nirma, and 100 other such examples we have from the 80s and the 90s, and maybe even the early 2000s, which were legendary, iconic brand campaigns. We also had legendary, iconic, creative people delivering those campaigns, right? And there were very strong personalities who led advertising agencies, who led brands, and who were great readers of culture and were able to reflect that in advertising.
Yeah.
Today, the age of the personality-led creative agency is gone. Now it's about culture-led creative and not personality-led creative.
Very well said.
Why is that? Because, you see, we are no longer dependent on craft. You know, the ability to write beautiful prose, the ability to visualize a lovely image. We are not entirely dependent on those. We are dependent on creative thinking because technology has given us a way to reduce our dependence on craft. If you have extremely bright and talented creative thinkers, then you have many ways to express that to consumers, and tech helps you with that. So, you know, we hear about democratization of creativity. It is that. It is not the democratization of creative thinking. Creative thinking is still the prerogative of bright, talented, creative minds.
Yeah.
But now they can come from many places, even if they don't have the craft.
Yeah.
Like in Leo, we have aerospace engineers, we have dentists, we have lawyers. You know, we have such a wide mix of people who are great creative thinkers. They may not be able to sit and write a beautiful 30-second ad. They may not be able to draw well, right? But they're great creative thinkers. But we are able to take their creative thinking, thanks to a larger talent pool and to technology, and find a way to express it. That's what has changed. But you need to have a culture that allows that.
Yeah. Wow. Changed my perspective about the whole situation totally. My next question to you is that storytelling is the king today, right? They say that it is the way to kind of capture the audience. But we also hear a lot about ad fatigue, where, as you said, we come across so many ads that the brand stickiness is diluting. How do you maintain a balance? Give me 2 to 3 tips that you would suggest to your clients to maintain storytelling while not tiring your consumer.
Storytelling has always been king, and not only in advertising.
Yeah.
Storytelling has been king, has been one of the key reasons why human beings are the most successful species on planet Earth. So that is the heart of what makes a human, the ability to tell a story very well, right? Here's the thing. Because of what you call ad fatigue, which is very real, because of fragmentation of messaging, the ability to tell us one story at one point of time in 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1 hour, that has changed. So you have to be able to tell a story across 100 points of time.
Yeah.
And that's not easy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a really cool trend that is emerged out of Korea, and now we're seeing it in different parts of the world, of what are called 1-minute webisodes.
Yeah.
Okay? They're stories told in 1 minute formats. It's a long story. It's like a feature film.
And we scroll to the end of it too. Like we follow the page and scroll to the end to find the next
And you're waiting
part.
for the next episode. And you're waiting for the next episode, which is
Yeah.
released 4 hours later. Right?
Yeah.
Now it's one story,
Yeah.
but told at 43 different points of time
Yeah.
in 1 minute each
Yeah.
to make a 45-minute episode. Right? That's a format of storytelling.
Yeah.
It's not always easy for brands to keep up with even those kinds of formats. What is even more important, therefore, is to not fuss too much about one tonality, one story, one character, but to fuss about one meaning. If you have a very strong purpose, belief, and meaning system for a brand, then you have to allow the brand to express its story in many different ways. That's how the world has changed. Tomorrow you have a campaign running with 35 influencers.
Yeah.
You're giving control to them. They are creating the stories. You can try and guide it and you can shape it, but they are carrying your brand story to the world, right? You can't script everything, but can you script the belief system of the brand so strongly that every influencer stays within the framework of that belief system? Yes, you can. And when you ask a consumer, tell me about a famous ad, they may not be able to reply to you in the way they did about Hamara Bajaj.
Yeah.
Right? Or any of those lines that are now part of folklore, but they will be able to tell you, ye brand. Because they are associating with what that brand stands for. And especially younger consumers. You take Gen Z today, they are, for all the conversation people has about Gen Z, they buy authenticity and belief.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they're loyal to.
Yeah.
They're not loyal to people or bosses or companies or brands, but they're loyal to beliefs. Hold that. And your storytelling, let it be fluid, let it revolve around that, let it find its own expressions. Not all of it you can control.
Yeah.
And I think that's how the world is moving, and that's how brands have to develop as well.
Awesome. My last question to you. The agency Leo, in the coming times, how are you strategizing yourself to be a differentiator in the market, to set something apart?
I think we're already doing a lot, and we continue to move in that direction. There are a few fundamental pillars to what we are doing. We are a culture-led agency.
Yeah.
And we talked about it a little bit earlier, right? We're an agency where which only respects talent and culture and doesn't respect personality.
Yeah.
We are a we agency and not a me agency. People who are me, they're not really at Leo.
Yeah.
They're all people who are we. And I think one of our big pillars of growth is to continue to develop that strong culture of meritocracy, of respect of talent, and of openness and transparency and feeling of security that allows talent to flourish. That's a key pillar. I think from a business standpoint also, we have a very specific way in which we are building capability. I think the key for a creative company today is its capability mix.
Yeah.
The legacy creative company continues to have capabilities in the model of advertising of the 90s and the 2000s and even earlier, which led to those iconic campaigns, right?
Yeah.
But today, you got to have capability not just in traditional formats of creative thinking, but in commerce and in shopper and in experiential and in content and in production.
Yeah.
And in technology, and there's a very wide range of capability mix, right? What we do is we hold our core capability of creative thinkers as our key team, right? But we are our way of thinking is a collaborative way of thinking. It is a collaborative economy, and we are not a creative agency who is either myopic or insular or territorial about its own turf. In fact, we are a creative company that says, okay, you are great at that and I'm great at this, let's get together and do this.
Yeah.
So we can collaborate with architects and technologists and gamers and they're better at those things than we are.
Yeah.
Right? And designers and with people who are great with shopper and with commerce and all these capabilities. We have a way of inclusive development of work that harnesses many different capabilities with the core idea being the same. And I think that is what is fueling our growth in many ways from a structural standpoint. This year we are now the world's number one creative effective agency on the work rankings. We in fact there's a lot of big work we did on our mainstream clients that on the back of which these recognitions are coming to us. And then these are all work that it's an effectiveness ranking, so it's creative work that has had an impact on business, on brands, on people, on communities. And we are continuing to do a lot of that work for our biggest clients in India and for brands that we are working on mandates now across different parts of the world as well.
Awesome. I think this was a very holistic conversation. Thank you so much for your time. And
thank you for your time.
Loved your perspective.